My name is Aaron Chivirese. Today on the Growth Podcast, I'm sitting down with my buddy Rayson Chu, who's a strategic networking coach. He has such guests like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone on his podcast, and he teaches people how to connect and network with highly influential people and celebrities and big names. Rayson, welcome to the Growth Podcast, man.
Hey, man. Wow. It's really an honor and pleasure to be on your show, bro. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. Before we hopped on, we were just chatting real quick about how I used to live in Singapore and you're in Singapore. We have a lot in common already. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this, man.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so you absolutely floored me when we were talking at the beginning, talking about the guests you've had on your podcast, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, all these big names. And you started telling me a little bit about how you do all that. We'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, can we just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Rayson?
All right, sure. So I am, in fact, a transformation catalyst, but of course, that's my side hustle. So my main hustle, my main job is I'm a trained psychiatric nurse. So right now, I'm like a frontline worker, fighting against COVID-19 together with the patients that we have in the hospital. But of course, on the side, I'm a transformation catalyst. So what I do is that I pick the brains of the best entrepreneurs around the globe. So people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Steve Sims, Paul Getter, and many more in my podcast. Okay, and people, especially the millennials who listen to it, they got the inspiration, the results that they want after listening to it, and because of whatever that the experts have shared on my podcast, they went on to apply it, and then eventually they got the results that they have been looking for. So this is I would say a very good opportunity for me to share to them about the do's and don'ts on podcasting, and also at the same time the do's and don'ts in terms of networking. So yeah, this is what I do for my side hustle and for a living as well.
Yeah, very cool. So how long have you been doing this for? How long has your online journey sort of been taking place?
Well, it all started in 2017. So it's about almost 3 years already, mid 2017. So I started out with, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and etc. And I was always thinking, right? Always thinking about having my own podcast and all, because in the year 2014, I had a very rough journey for myself. So what happened was this: in 2014, especially every guy in Singapore, when they turn 18, 19, 20, they have to go to the army. So after I graduated from the army, I thought I could go anywhere I want, do whatever I want in terms of nursing. But somehow rather, with my diploma in nursing, I went on to the very different route from the other nurses, which is to go to I would say, the private sector, which is to be a Japanese clinic nurse in Singapore. And it wasn't the best experience ever, because within just about 2 to 3 months, I was being laid off. I was being fired because I made some mistakes. No worries, nobody died. Okay, made some minor silly mistakes, and I couldn't focus because I had some bad relationship with my ex-girlfriend. In the end, I was being laid off, and then on top of that, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend after that, because I realized that enough is enough. I need to work on myself. I need to make sure that I become better than before. So that's why I decided that all these quarrels that we have, all these unnecessary kind of arguments that we had, got to be done. It's got to be over. So I decided to have a clean slate, and I decided to leave. So that's where all these interesting things start to happen, because that's where I started to got more self-aware. I got to ask myself what I want to do, who I want to be, and then I started to realize that, hey, there's so many possibilities out there. So I went on to try out being a motivational facilitator, in a company that goes to different schools to speak, but somehow um, it wasn't that good in terms of the payout as well. And I need to look after my family. I need to give back to my family members as well, because I have two moms. So yeah, so I have a dad and two moms that I have to feed. So I decided to join this psychiatric nursing because my mom, who is a who wasn't there for me since young because of a mental illness, which is schizophrenia. So I thought of joining this workforce to learn how to communicate with her. So somehow rather, it gave me a lot of possibilities when I joined this sector, when I joined this psychiatric nursing, because after joining it, within 4 months, my story was being featured on local newspaper, on the Straits Times. And then I was featured on my hospital's kind of conference, and then I was being featured here and there ever since. So I was really grateful that I'm like like a so-called celebrity nurse, but I don't look at it this way, because I believe whenever I have the opportunity to share, be it on a podcast, be it on a newspaper or radio or anything, I find that all these are just bonuses for my personal branding, and also at the same time for me to be a known expertise to people like you, like anyone else that's around that want and need this information. So yeah, so all these are the, I would say, the experiences that I had, and these are the I would say the journey that I've gone through. Even though it's not that easy, not that simple, but as long as I don't give up, the rewards that I'm reaping will be even 2 times, 3 times, 10 times for better than who I was in 2014.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. It sounds like it all started when you kind of had your back against the wall as far as not having a
Yes.
job, not having the girlfriend, and life kind of took a turn, and you use that
Yep.
opportunity to work on yourself and then
Yeah.
go into a new direction. That the same happened to me. I lost my consulting
Mm-hmm.
jobs. I had tough times in the economy we were in, and I've heard that
Oh,
story
okay.
many times. Like a lot of people say, the most growth happened when I was in the worst position, at the worst moment. That
Yeah.
was like a flip, right? Same for you, eh?
Correct.
So
Yep.
what were you looking to accomplish back then when you transitioned online? I mean, how do you go from a nurse trying to be a motivational speaker and then not liking that as much, and then moving, all of a sudden you got Grant Cardone on your podcast? Like, how does this like I want to hear about this window here, because for the listeners, maybe a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, how does a person even
Mm-hmm.
talk to these guys who's quote unquote a nobody? Because that's how everybody feels. They feel like they need to be extra special or wealthy or famous to get in touch with these people. But you're proving that that's not the case. Am I right?
Yeah, this is not 100% the case. I mean, like, there are people who don't really like me because they felt that, you know, you should be a somebody, or you should be a millionaire or a billionaire in order to speak to Warren Buffett, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Sir Richard Branson, and all this kind of people. But in my back of my mind is that if only the rich can speak and reach out to the rich, then what about those who are not so wealthy? What about those who are of the middle class? All these wealthy people, there's certain times, I would say even many a time, that they are also looking for a friend that is not a millionaire. They are also looking for a friend that's not a millionaire. Why? Because certain people who are rags to riches, they are very consistent, and they are very earnest and very trustworthy in whatever that they have. And they would rather have people come and talk to them than people shying away from them. You see, all these people that has recently appeared on Gary Vee's Tea Time with Gary, they are not any kind of like wealthy people. Some of them, or many of them, they are actually young kids who have dreams, or even people who are of a middle class who are in the transition towards a new job, for example, or they are a college student who has no clue where they want to go. So they appeared on this Tea Time with Gary and they asked Gary questions, right? So it's the same for me, right? If let's say this guys are able to have this opportunity, this golden opportunity, this diamond opportunity to speak to Gary Vee for mere 5 minutes, 3 minutes, then why not me, right? So I told myself, hey, if people were to say that you only need to be wealthy, then you can mix with the wealthy, then why not let me prove to people that this is not 100% the truth. And you do not have to join the inner circle by paying millions, thousands or millions of dollars in order to be a part of this group of people. So I went all in to give it a shot, to give it a try, to see how I can adjust myself to this kind of environment, this adapting to this kind of environment. So that's where I decided to go all in to have a podcast and to try it out because I was inspired by this guy called Joel Brown. So he has this podcast called Addicted to Success. So I saw him interviewing his favorite idols like Tony Robbins, Lewis Howes, and so many other amazing American entrepreneurs, speakers, celebrity speakers, and etc. So I thought to myself, hey, if Joel can do it, why not me? If an Australian guy can do it, right? Why not a Singaporean? And moreover, 2017 podcasting wasn't so popular in Singapore. I believe I was like the first few that actually started out, and especially in this realm of entrepreneurship, I believe I was the first few that started out and started the interviewing style kind of a podcast. So I went on to give it a shot to try, to get as many of all these idols and all these amazing people onto the podcast. So yeah, so this was how I transitioned from a nobody to a somebody. But of course, maybe I had all these accolades like being on the newspaper and etc. that got me certain credibility. But I don't think 100% these celebrities will look at my newspaper articles and all whatnot. But as long as you are really, I would say, sincere to get them onto a podcast, somehow rather I believe they wouldn't say no to you, unless if they are in a period where they are super busy, then of course they would turn down all these opportunities to be on a podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, people that we're all looking up to that are, successful entrepreneurs that are in the digital space that are putting themselves out there, and even ones that aren't in the digital space but use digital to, do everything, because we all do now, right? Tony Robbins is a great example.
Yep.
Yeah. All of these people, I think that they just love when others are in growth mode and when they're trying to be the best version of themselves, because they also are, right? We're all on the same path.
Yeah.
They're just possibly down the road further than you. And even myself, when I see someone who's just starting at something that I've been doing for a while, like I've traveled a lot in my life, for example. I've lived all around the world. And if someone's like, oh, I'm thinking of moving somewhere, but I'm scared, I really am cool to chat with that person for 10 minutes to assure them that they'll be cool and kind of give them some tips and stuff, because you can look back and see yourself in that space, right? So I'm sure that they're feeling the same way, and they want to help get the message out on as many platforms as possible, and jumping on other people's shows and stuff is a way to do that, right? It's amazing. It's a big collaboration that's always happening. Hey.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Cool, man. Well,
yes, and especially this year, man.
Especially
This year, man. It's the year for collaborations. Especially this year, 2020, it's the year for collaborations more than competition, in my opinion. That's why you get to see different singers that they are doing Facebook Live together. There are people who are like, speakers. They are collaborating with one another to churn out more information, and also at the same time to have training training sessions, online training sessions, Zoom trainings, and all this kind of stuff that's coming in place. So yeah, so this is the time for collaborations, and I believe all these people, even like Tony, Dean Graziosi, and even Russell Brunson, they had this collaboration last year, and this year it's even more powerful because they have more value the to the marketplace, to the crowd, to the audience. That's why I believe, yeah, it's very important to collaborate. And it's not so easy, but as long as you can find the same like-mindedness from with one another from any part of the community that you're in, I'm pretty sure it will definitely work out well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. Collaboration over competition for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing right now we're
Yep.
recording this in the middle of April during the coronavirus stuff, and if you go onto Instagram or on Facebook, you can just see everybody doing um, joint lives and things. Like almost everybody, as soon as you open your Instagram, everybody is doing videos together and chatting with each other and intertwining each other's
Yeah.
audiences, right, and giving value to each other's
Yes.
audiences. It's very cool.
Yep.
And I love that
Yep.
too. I'm a huge fan of collaboration over competition. I've always been that way.
Yes.
And I'm very happy about that in this day and age, that's the way it's going, because I feel like that's how we expand and grow the most, right? We leverage each other and we use each other's skill
Yeah.
sets and each other's personalities and stuff, and we help more people that way. Yeah, it's very cool. So
Mm-hmm.
in your experience now, you've been doing podcasting since 2017. Wow, you're like one of
Yep.
the originals, over there. So what's been one of the challenges? What's
Yeah.
been one of the challenges that you've faced along the way? Maybe for people who are just starting out their podcast, like myself, mine's pretty much brand new, and others that are looking into getting into it, or they're just in their
Mm-hmm.
first year or two. Like, what kind of challenges popped up, and how did you overcome those?
Well, okay. So one of the challenges is to, in fact, be able to get certain guests that you want onto your show. Like for example, um, there's certain times where I wanted people like Tony Robbins, even like Russell Brunson, and all this kind of big names onto my podcast. So it's not 100% easy when you want to get them. Means you can get them ASAP, right? It will take time. So this is the challenge that I faced when I started out earlier. I have no clue. At first, I have no clue like what kind of podcast I wanted to go into. I thought of just having a book review kind of a podcast where I interview the authors. But somehow or other, I realized that hey, um, I know a huge group of entrepreneurs in Singapore and maybe Southeast Asia that is quite prominent in their own niche. So I thought of getting them. So it was easy to get them. But when it comes to getting the bigger names at the start, it's not so easy. So what I would highly recommend to all the podcasters, those young, evergreen, brand new podcasters that want to go onto your niche, for example, and you want to go and do the interview style. Yep. You want to do the interview style kind of podcast, right? And you want big names. You got to first know who are the people that you want to interview in your niche or your sub niche, right? So once you know who are the people that you want, then you need to know why you want them and why they need to be on your podcast. Because if both of you are not aligned, then all the more you will not be able to um, get them onto your podcast. So you need to know the what, the who, and the why, and then you will slowly transition into interviewing them. And then also at the same time, if you want to interview them straight away, it all depends, right? I have a friend slash student who paid a huge lump sum of money to be a part of Russell's kind of like a inner circle, right? So from there, he's able to get big names easily, right? But if you have no big lump sum of money, okay, and you have no I would say no big following at start, then what I would recommend you is to trade it up. So what does trading it up means? It means that you got to interview those who are of a smaller amount of followers first. So maybe somebody that has only 5,000 or few hundred or whatsoever followers, but they have superb value in their knowledge, in their wisdom. Yes, you get them on board and then you slowly trade it up. Like maybe, like for example, for me, I got Gary Vee on episode number 25 to 26, and then I got Grant Cardone at 48. But in between, I got a few other big speakers that's based in Singapore, big trainers that are based in Singapore. So yeah, so in between, I slowly trade it up. So this is something that I believe you guys can use it pretty well. So you gotta slowly, trade it up rather than just, you know, go straight in and you are expecting that these people will come onto your show, but not necessarily these people will just immediately come to you, because who are you, right? You have no credibility, you do not have huge lump sum of followers that listen to your podcast or watch your Facebook live, for example, or any kind of this kind of recording. Then yeah, you need some analytics, some kind of like, numbers for them in order to know that, oh, yeah, this is worth coming in, rather than, have zero experience and zero kind of listenership, and then next moment you jump on board to just quickly grab all those big names. And some will be nice enough to tell you they will come, but then they won't. They will just nicely decline for some. Some they will say yes, but then they will be pretty busy, so you need to catch the attention. But yeah, so this is something that I truly believe will help you guys to get all these big names, especially during this period of time when all of them are at home. So you need to take this opportunity to share with them to get them on board on your show.
Mm, that's a good call. Yeah, interesting. Um, I see you have Russell's book behind you there, Expert Secrets, and of course, we love all these books. I literally have it right here as
Yep.
my mouse pad, and Russell calls it
Okay.
he calls it the Dream 100, right? Your Dream 100 list
Yes.
of people,
Correct.
and
Yep.
that's essentially. Can talk to us a little bit about that. You don't have to go into Russell stuff or anything, but that's essentially putting
Yeah.
together a list of your top people, right? Or how does that look? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what Russell and even Nathan Chan has mentioned this before, and this is very crucial, and that is to have your Dream 100. So, which is what I've mentioned earlier, which is to understand who is the person that you want to interview. Who are those people that is in your niche and you have always been dreaming of interviewing them, like literally. So all these people, excuse me, so all these people that you have always wanted, you need to know who are they. Like for example, my Dream 100 includes people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, and all these big name entrepreneurs and digital marketers and etc. And it might take me some time to get these people, but then um, it's not so it's not so fast that you will get them, nor is it gonna be taking too long for you to get them, unless if you keep procrastinating and you keep telling yourself that you're not worth it, shouldn't get this chance, you shouldn't be able to get this opportunity. But who knows, man? You might even get the opportunity to interview certain guests that you have never thought of. Maybe they are second tier to Grant Cardone, they're second tier to Gary Vee and all these big names, right? Because they might have thousands of followers, but they do not have millions of followers like them on social media. Then you can go for them, and then slowly you can trade it up, right? So when you have this Dream 100 of people, you need to write down who are they that you want, to have on your list? And then after that, why should they come on board your show? So you need to have, or even why should they interact with you? You need to know the reasons why they are supposed to meet you up, talk to you, and all this. Because once you know the why behind the who, then all the more it will be easier for you to pitch.
Mm. All the more it would be easier for you to pitch. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
who's been a
It will be
couple of
easier.
yeah, it'll be easier for sure. You're right.
Yep.
The more targeted you are on what you're doing, of course, you're focused on it, right? Um, who have been some of your
Yes.
guests that stand out in your mind that were maybe extreme or something funny happened, or do you have any funny stories from any of your guests?
Well, I do not have any weird guests. I mean, like they are all pretty cool. I mean, there's definitely one or two funny incidents that I believe we can think of. So for example, like I have this guy called Eric Feng. So he is like one of the big names in terms of the um, sales industry, right? So he teaches people on, especially people like insurance agents or financial advisors, and also at the same time property agents as well, to how how to sell and how to get leads, right? So I first, I thought we have scheduled this whole appointment, this whole interview, but then I didn't get any reply. So I thought, it's not happening at first. Then suddenly, he messaged me, and I was at work, and I thought of like going to his office right after my work and to go and interview him. So usually, right, I will prepare myself. I'll wear jeans, I will wear button shirts and all, and make it look nicer. But somehow rather, because I assumed that he didn't reply, so I went on to wear shirt and shorts. Thankfully, I didn't wear singlet, or else it would be worse, right? So and somehow he was wearing like super nice kind of a suit, and he was prepped up for the whole interview. So I was like, thought of like going back and put out straight after work, and I can go and do some of my own stuff, my side hustle, or relax kind of stuff. And he messaged me and told me, hey, uh, we are meeting at this timing, right? And I was like, oh crap. I didn't wear the best, the best outfit for that day. So I was like, yeah, and it was just about an hour or so for a meetup. So I was like, oh crap. Okay, cool. I think, yeah, I just told him yes, and I'm coming over. I'm on the way. And the next moment when he saw me, he was like, oh shit. It's like one is like heaven, and the other one is like looks like some uh you know very simple. And thankfully he didn't say anything. And yeah, we managed to film the whole process. He has his own camera crew that helped me out to film it and all. And I was very grateful that all this happened. And you know what? He is like an ambassador for Vans. Okay, so this brand Vans is like skater shoes kind of stuff. So we were talking about how how we can get brands to notice us and to allow us to be their ambassador. So somehow or other, he was like, oh yeah, sure. And then he lift up his legs and put it on the table and show it to the guests, his shoes. And I say, okay, yeah. So you want to know how to do that? You have to be prominent and blah blah blah. And then yeah, and then he was like showcasing his shoe, and we were all having a good time. And we had like a few cameras showing the angle. And then he was like lifting it up, he's showing his feet to his shoes, his feet to the camera. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So I didn't expect this. And there are even like incidences where I have to learn how to adapt to situations during a podcast. Like for example, Cardone, he had his daughter Sabrina suddenly, because all of them, like Sabrina, his two daughters were there watching us. His camera guy, Johnny, his disciple, which is Jared. They were all there watching and watching how we are filming it and all. And Sabrina was there, and he suddenly called her in to the podcast. Like he just asked her to come in and, hey, come, let's talk to the audience, say hi, and all this whatnot. And then he asked her, what have you learned? What is 10x and all this kind of stuff. It was quite cool. Like you got to learn how to adapt in situations like this, rather than, oh, no, hey, you shouldn't bring her in. Come on, it's just you and me, kind of stuff. But I believe we have to learn to adapt, and this kind of situations that came just so sudden, you have to like switch your mind to open to open mind, like, oh, okay, so all this kind of things will happen, all this kind of interesting things will happen, so you got to make it fun, make it cool, and you cannot be angry about it, or you cannot be frustrated about, so stressed up because of all these sudden appearances or sudden hiccups here and there, or whatever, right? So you got to learn how to enjoy the whole process, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, bringing his daughter into the podcast on film and stuff is amazing. It brings authenticity
Yeah.
to the whole thing, right? It brings
Yes.
the feeling of family, and the audience can see that he's a real person and stuff. I mean, that's all part of being an authentic leader. So that's very cool. So you're filming your
Yeah.
podcast live in person, sounds like, with these guys.
Yes. Usually, right?
Mhm.
Usually, especially whenever they are in Singapore, I would definitely love it when we go live, right?
Mm.
So 2017, I actually mentioned to Gary. So that was the first time I saw Gary. So I told him I will normally use Facebook Live, and then I'll turn it into a YouTube video from there. I'll convert it to a YouTube video, so add in the intros, the outros, and then post it up. So this is usually what I'll be doing. But like recently, due to COVID virus, they are all abroad, so we will usually do Zoom, or sometimes I'll use once in a while there will be an another app that I'll be using called StreamYard. So
Mhm.
all this will take in place. So it depends on the guests whether they would prefer Zoom or they prefer to use other channels. So yeah, so these are things. But I normally would love live because it is live in person, and also it is authentic.
Yeah,
No cuts, no stop. Just continue rolling the whole camera, the whole scene. So
yeah, for
that's
sure.
why I really love about Facebook Live.
Yeah, for sure. Live, and I mean, if you're live in person with them, it's just absolutely amazing. I guess when they come into Singapore for
Yeah.
conferences and events and stuff, that's when you grab a net and you say, "Hey, come over here, jump into my podcast real quick." Right? That's cool,
Yeah,
man. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I um I was mentioning earlier that my wife and I used to live in Singapore, so it's awesome. Maybe next time we come
Yes.
there, we'll swing through and check out your studio. That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, like my studio is just this, or not.
Ah,
It will be at the one of the offices that we borrow, so we rent
mm,
for a while. So yeah, it's usually this. Or sometimes whenever guests they are here, for example, in like Grant Cardone, he invited us to his suite, and we go to his suite and do the whole filming. Yeah, so I
okay.
brought
You go to
so I
them. I
brought
see. You go to them.
yeah, I go to them. So they will tell me that, okay, so these are the places that we're going to be. And then I was like, okay, so as long as it's comfortable, we'll go. So usually I do not have a studio to film. I will just usually go to their offices or their house or even their hotels, right? So there's even one speaker that came on board the show. He just like to he's pretty prudent in terms of spending in hotels. So he was staying like in those. He didn't know that this hotel was a love-making hotel. So he went on to book this hotel, and he's staying there. And we went to the hotel to film, and I was telling my friend, who came with me to do the filming. It's like, hey man, I think it's a bit weird to have three guys in this hotel room. Yeah, because it's a love making kind of hotel, and people will look at it in a very different light.
Yeah,
So I was
well,
like, okay, never mind.
you're heading into
But
you're heading into
eventually,
the lovemaking hotel with cameras and microphones and a bunch of dudes.
yeah, and it's two dudes. Come on.
Two dudes, yeah.
So it's
Wow,
it's a bit awkward. Yeah, it's a bit awkward. So, but I
that's
mean,
funny.
like, we were teasing the speaker, like, hey, this is actually a hotel like this, and he's like, oh shit, and he was dumbfounded. He was like, oh crap, I didn't expect that.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
yeah, so all this kind of funny incidents will happen. Yeah, all this kind of small little things happen as well, this funny little bits. So yeah, so we would normally share it among like those friends rather than my followers. Some followers, they do not know where is this being filmed or whatsoever. So yeah, so all this funny bits and pieces will come on board once in a while. And even uh just recently, I just like 2 episodes ago, right, I had this guest. We have a group of people that we are a part of. So we even have them to ask us some questions, right? So she talks about Facebook Live and how you can use Facebook Live to get in leads, get more leads, and get paid as well for your services or your products, right? So this lady was asking us about the length. So I was like, so I was just joking. So I was asking her, so you prefer it long or short? And then we were started to laugh about it, because she thought I was being corny and saying all this dirty jokes. But in essence, you know, all this kind of funny stuff will happen. So it all depends on how we adapt to it and how we make it more authentic and more livelier and more funnier, or even more engageable, right, to the audience.
Yeah, that's right. Go with the flow and keep it authentic and real and just go with the flow, right? For sure. So yeah, so you started out your
Yes.
podcast. I mean, I can see what you're doing there. You have these people coming to Singapore and you reach out to them and you go visit them and you help share their story with the world. That's a great, I love it.
Yep.
It's very motivating to hear
Oh,
that you're
thank
out
you.
there doing that. That's very cool, man. You know, it takes guts to do that, right? It takes guts to go knock on Grant
Hmm.
Cardone's door and be
Yeah.
like, hey man, I'm here, you know what I mean? So that's very cool, man. Congratulations on that. So then
Yeah.
you transitioned,
Oh,
or
thank you.
I'd say you evolved, right? As you've been doing this, obviously you've been learning, on the go, how to do this, like how to get these guests on, how to put yourself out there. And now
Hmm.
you've turned that into a
Yeah.
business, right? You've turned that into a business for
Yes.
yourself. So talk to us about how you set up your current business.
Yes. Well, basically last year, it all happened that I have a guest of mine who asked me this. Hey, I'm having a so-called digital carnival, digital kind of a thing where I would like to invite you to speak. So what is the topic that you can speak about? And I was like thinking, a lot of people have been asking me, how do I get Grant Cardone, Gary Vee onto my podcast, and or even how to even meet them. So why not take this opportunity to share this to these people as a workshop, right? So it all started from that workshop, and then it slowly grew to now. Right now, because of COVID-19, we are launching it as a online program. So we're gonna teach people how you can get these people onto your podcast, or even get to speak to them without paying much money as well. Even though I do believe that the paid one, it is good, right? It will be even awesome. It will even be awesome if you don't pay any sum at all, and you are able to still speak to them and get get to them, because eventually, these people, they would love to share their story out there. It's just depending on who are their audiences that they choose. and who are the podcasters or the news anchors or the radio stations that they choose to pitch this on or share this on. So yeah, so for me, how it transitioned was through that moment. And of course, uh, as the time goes by, I realized that a lot of people, especially my guests, they want to tap onto my network because they realize that I'm a huge connector. So they want to use this platform as a way to share their stuff and share their knowledge, their wisdom, and their products and services. So that's where they approach me. So right now, there's a few agencies like PR agencies that are working with me in a sense where they will share with me, okay, I have this contact, I have this guest that I would like you to interview. So here are their names, and then they just let me choose. So last time I had to ask people to come on to my show. This time around, I am the one who's choosing. I'm like, okay, so this guy has been on Forbes, this guy has been on Fortune, this guy has been on different platforms. Okay, I'll be getting this person, I'll be getting that, pop. So that's how this so-called mini business has eventually appeared. Uh, it slowly grow into this format. And of course, I don't charge people who to come onto my podcast, but there is one agency that is helping me to pitch to other um, speakers, trainers, or business owners, experts to come onto my show, and you have to pay a certain amount of money for that. So it's like a bonus to me when these people are able to get me some clients in a sense to come onto the show. And there are certain times where I was flat zero, like I don't earn anything at all because probably because of COVID-19, and also at the same time because podcasting is not so prominent in Singapore. But there are still people who are very keen on getting these people onto their wish list to meet these people from their wish list, the dream 100. So yeah, so that's where they approach me and they ask me to guide them. And yeah, this is the simple side hustle that I have, or even like another way is that they want to collaborate with me and then I'll become their affiliate marketer kind of stuff. And that's where I got commissions from them, or even I get a one-time payout. Yeah, all this kind of stuff do happen. So it's not just the teaching, the coaching kind of side hustle that I have. There's another side hustle which is like affiliate marketing, or even being invited to speak in schools or in different platforms, and I'm being paid per hour or per project. So yeah, so these are the things that happening that has been happening since 2017 all the way until now.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's super inspiring. That's
Oh, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, that's cool. It's funny. It's funny to hear you say side hustle. It's like, yeah, I teach people how to get celebrities, how to be friends with celebrities as my side hustle. You know, you
Yeah,
say
I
it
know,
so
right?
casually. It's like, yeah, I help people hook up with people like Gary Vee and stuff. I teach them how to do that. It's very cool. It's
Yeah.
very cool. And yeah, we were talking about this before coming on, right? It's the era of
Yes.
collaboration rather than competition.
Yes.
And you just mentioned it there,
Correct.
pairing up and doing affiliate marketing and stuff with your guests and other people like this, right? That's a huge thing that a lot of people don't know is on the back
Hmm.
side of a podcast funnel, if you will. Um,
Yeah.
and collaboration is really where it's at. I'm a huge advocate of collaboration versus competition. I've always
Hmm.
have been. And I think it's
Yes.
very cool that now it's prominent now. It's pretty obvious that that's the way forward. This is a perfect
Yes.
example.
Correct.
We're literally doing it right now in real life, like real time. It's one of these things. It's very cool. And
Hmm.
yeah, collaboration. I mean, you have your Telegram group
Yeah.
I'm a part of that's extremely active, right? And there's so many cool people in there talking about awesome stuff and collaborating and learning from each other,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? It's a cool time to be alive. Hey,
Yes.
like, isn't it so cool? It's so cool. So
Yeah.
if you
It
look
is.
back,
It is.
if you looked back on, your journey
Hmm.
now from 2017, you broke up with your girlfriend, you lost your job, you were kind of
Oh,
down.
that's 2014.
Sorry,
2014.
2014. 20,
Yeah.
2014. Okay, so you were in a bit of a downward spiral back then, 2014. And
Mm-hmm.
then now if you cut to now where we are, 2020, you have this amazing business side hustle. You're speaking, you have celebrity guests on, and you're doing all sorts of very cool stuff. In this window of time, if you can look
Yeah.
back, was there a transformation that happened to you internally that is profound, that actually you can see now in
Yes.
yourself that
There
maybe you didn't expect
was
was going to
the
happen? That maybe you didn't expect was going to happen?
yeah. Yeah. So basically, I didn't expect myself to be confident, didn't expect myself to grow to be more of a person that I am right now. So I realized that, somehow or other in times like this, we might need, okay, we might need a struggle, or we might need a conflict or whatsoever in our life to mold us. That's where, our arrogance or even like low self-esteem will be evolved. Like we will definitely let go of all those negativity, and then slowly you'll grow to a positive side of things. Like I didn't expect myself to outgrow my 2014 self to such an extent where I'm getting more confident. I'm getting more, I would say, podcast interviews. Who would like to interview me, right? Like I'm a nobody at that point of time. I have no clue about being interviewed, but I do have a dream for myself. Like wow, be cool to be appearing on this podcast, or being cool to be interviewed. To share my expertise, my knowledge, my journey to people, my experiences. So all this, took me some time, and for the last 6 years, I would say, I am thankful that I went on to learn about leadership, and even to the extent of learning how to pick up. Right, I learned pick up so that I can improve on my confidence level and etc. Not using that to play with girls and all, but more towards the realm of becoming more confident in myself and having a better routine for myself to you know to improve in my whole life, because I've always thought that if I want to change, it's now or never. So it took me a while. It took me a while to really accept that I needed a change. It took me a while to realize what I wanted. It took me a while to understand why I wanted to be a speaker, why I wanted to do all this podcast. It took me a while. So every time I whenever I feel like giving up at times, I have certain period of time where I, especially in 2014, there are so much dark moments, right? That moment of time, I told myself that I want to be better, be more successful than who I was in 2014. I had that passion, I had that drive to improve on myself. So that's where all these amazing things started to happen. So this is something that I believe in. Like life is not always like it's not always going to be downslide, or it's not always going to be upslide, or going to be stagnant. Sometimes it's like a roller coaster ride. So it will goes up, go down, go stagnant, and then go down again, and then go up. It's like the stocks right now, right? The stocks right now is going crazily downwards and spiraling down and going up sometimes, and then stagnant and all. So yeah, so this is how life is, how life it is, right? So I told myself that in order to become better than who I was, I got to improve, I got to change. That's where I started to read all these books. Well, not all the books have been read yet, but slowly and surely, and the programs, the seminars that I've been on, um, the people that I've met, the people learned that I've learned from, and all those kind of amazing things. it took me a while to really understand the concept and apply them. It's not like, wow, you go for 5 days course, you're going to be a millionaire soon, right? It's not so easy, not so fast. But it took me a while to really understand myself. It took me a while to be self-aware about who am I, what I want, who do I want to mix with, who do I want to learn from, and all this kind of stuff. So it took me a while. And I believe those listeners who are listening to this right now, it will definitely take you some time. That's where you need to build up your passion, you need to build up your patience, you need to lower down your ego and your arrogance or and even increase your empathy, increase your resiliency, because this is the time where you need to be more resilient than ever before. Yeah, and I believe this is a time where you need to realize that millennials are not strawberry generation anymore. It's the time where we are leveling up to become better than before and becoming more stronger than before. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love it. You've been on a deep personal development journey since 2014, hey?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, going through all those deep shit, and then
Yeah.
uh, not letting myself down, and not letting my parents down, not letting um, my future self down,
Mm,
especially. It
that's a
it
big one.
takes a lot of courage. It takes a huge amount of courage and effort to make this happen. Even though it sounds like some overnight success, like after getting onto a job and then within a few months I got featured and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it sounds like an overnight success, but to maintain this success is not overnight. It's
Mm,
it's
absolutely.
definitely gonna be so much, way so much more of effort that you're gonna do and you're gonna take. And I would like, to let the audience know that this is the year for you to turn regret into opportunities, into happiness, because this is the year for you to go out there and give it your all. Because no one knows who will get COVID virus, no one knows who will die of COVID virus or cancer or whatsoever that's happening, or famine or anything. It's up to you to choose who you want to be, what you want to do, why you want to do it, and go all out. Because this is the year. Can you imagine if this year, okay, if this year is the year where humanity ends, right? Can you imagine that? Right? Can you imagine if let's say, we wouldn't want that happen, but if this is the year that humanity is supposed to die, what will happen, right? You are living you are living the world with regrets because you have certain things that you always wanted to do but you didn't manage to do it, certain people that you want to say thank you to or talk to but you didn't manage to. There's certain people that you want to go out with but now you can't, so you have got to use some methods to go out with them virtually, right? And all this kind of stuff. So this is the year for you to really go dive deep in and then go and understand who are you, uh, who is Aaron, right? Who is Elizabeth, or whosoever that's listening to this podcast right now? Who are you? And what is it that you have always wanted to do and you can't do it right now? Of course, if you want to talk about go diving and parachuting, of course, we can't do that at this point of time. But what a kind of like side hustle that you have always wanted to do and you are not able to do it? Who are the people that you've always wanted to speak and you're not able to do it? Or probably you are left with, the doctors have told you that you are just left with a couple of months to live. So what is the thing that you want to do before this few months is gone for you, right? So you got to go out there and spread the message to the people that you've always wanted to say it, that you've always wanted to meet, and just do it. Because no point in dwelling about the past, no point in dwelling with regrets, no point living with regrets, because if you live with regrets, you're going to leave this world with regrets as well. So why not live with happiness, and then you live with happiness, right? So this is something that I want people to really go out there and acknowledge that, hey, life is fragile. It's either now or never. It's not so much about just do it, because if I tell you to just do it, you wouldn't know how to start. So you gotta prep yourself a bit. You need to strategize a bit before you start. Try out those strategy and then learn how to adapt it into a new form of strategy and then make it work for you. Because if I can do it, if Aaron can do it, so can you.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerful, man. Preach it, brother. Preach it. It's all true.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, man. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the Growth Podcast, Rayson. Tons of amazing
Thank you, man.
ideas and flow, and I just love what you're doing, bro. It's absolutely inspiring, from a new podcaster like myself. And
Thank you.
I've been in dark places, a lot of people have, and to see you come through it and come out on top is just awesome, bro. I love it. So for the listeners who want to find you on social media or possibly get into your courses and things, where can they find you?
All right, so you can go to onto Instagram. So Instagram is Ragacy, so it's Raygacy. Okay, so Legacy, you take out the LE and you put in my first three letters. That's Ragacy. Okay, and then you can also go on to Facebook and look for me. It's Rayson Chu. So Rayson space CHO. So just let me know that you have listened to Aaron's The Growth podcast and you want to connect with me, because I have like 700 plus Facebook requests. So, and I've not really go dive deep into into all these people yet. So just let me know. And of course you can find me on LinkedIn as well as Rayson Chu. And even if you want to join my tribe, for example, like which Aaron is in right now, let me know. You can go to Telegram and check it out, called the Legacy Show Family. So you can, I feel that, this is a family that we are in, be it whatever differences that we have in terms of ethnicity, culture, and all, value system and all. I believe that we all should be able to gel with one another, rather than having to look at the differences and criticizing one another based on the differences that we have. So yeah, you can join the tribe and share with us what's your goal, what's your strength. And soon we are going to have a Zoom meeting for the whole tribe. So stay tuned. And of course, we also have this course called Brand It Like Legacy, which is the whole form of the whole the whole online version of the offline version, where I teach people how to build your personal branding, have that mindset that you need before you start to talk to all these amazing people and asking them to be a guest on your show. So stay tuned in my social media space, and I'll let you guys know when this kind of course is coming out, online course is coming out. And yeah, you can check out my YouTube channel. I'm reviving the YouTube channel. So it's called Legacy or Rayson Chu for that channel. You can just type for that. And I'm having my own vlog. Okay, I'm having my own um, all the podcast episodes will be posted there real soon. And my Gary V and Grant Cardone features that I've been on Daily V, and I've been on Grant Cardone's YouTube channel. You can go and check it out. Whatever that we have shared on the Legacy Show, it's perfectly all in there. So you can check it out as well. And yeah, so this is where I am. You can like you can like and subscribe. And if you have any comments on any of the things that I've shared, or even in whatever I've shared in the Growth podcast, let us know, and if you have any questions, we will definitely answer them.
Cool, man. That's awesome. And it's all linked down in the
Yep.
show notes. So you can go find Rayson all over the place. He's everywhere and he's doing awesome stuff. Rayson, thank you so much for coming on the Growth Podcast, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, it's a pleasure as well. So take care and stay healthy, stay blessed during this period of time. Right. See you.